So, all of us are familiar with the importance of having property or having assets, and we all realize the importance of property because it has some value for us. We can fall back on it, and we can maybe sell an asset or our property and meet our needs and requirements. So it gives us a sense of financial security. Now, intellectual property rights are also a way of creating financial security while helping people to profit from their own innovation, creativity, foresight, intelligence, problem solving ability. All these things put together help a person to create intellectual property. So it is something which is not physically seen, it is not really tangible always, because intellectual property starts with an idea and then it manifests in the form of a product, service, or solution which we can see and we can use. So we take touchscreen technology for granted. It is a part of our lives today, and it evolved in somebody's head as an idea, and this technology was then applied to making better, more advanced products, and today it has become a part of our lives. So intellectual property rights are something which are, you would say, the currency in a knowledge economy. That is, if you create intellectual property, you create an asset for yourself whereby you can gain or profit throughout your lifetime, and also after your lifetime your family members and loved ones may gain or benefit from that. So the benefit continues to accrue for a long period of time depending on what type of intellectual property we are talking about. So in this video I have prepared a short introduction of the major types of intellectual property. Let's just try and understand what we mean by intellectual property rights. Now, intellectual property rights are legal rights that provide creators with protection from somebody else copying their idea or from somebody else profiting from their idea. So, logic and reasoning and natural justice say that if somebody has an idea or has, comes up with an innovation, then that person must be the one to gain from that. He or she should be the principal uh, profit, the person who earns a lot of profit from that, and he should get that ownership. He should have the right to prevent somebody else from profiting from his creation or his invention, his or her invention. Then intellectual property rights are always in the context of original works. So the work has to be original. It has to be an invention. So if you just improve on something, that might not count as an invention. But when you make something new, create something new, then that would be an invention. Or the appearance of products, that is design, how does a product look, or say how does a particular building look, it would have a certain design structure. Then artistic works, that is forms of artistic expression which may be spoken, written, musical, they may be drawn. So those are some examples. Or poems, books, all these literary works, they are artistic works scientific developments, that is, you can patent technology or a manufacturing process or a piece of machinery. So IPRs are in the context of all these things. They cover original works and inventions across a wide range of fields and domains. Now, IPRs grant exclusive rights to creators or inventors. So, the right to gain or profit from a particular invention or creation lies with the creator or inventor. He may license it to somebody else for a fee. So the primary person to gain from the creation or invention is the creator or inventor, and IPRs help creators or inventors to reap commercial benefits from their creative efforts or reputation. So, say an author will gain from not only writing a book but having it translated probably in all different languages, or having a movie made on it or a series made on it. So IPRs basically give you all these. They are very comprehensive in many respects. So that was a little bit of an introduction to IPRs. Let's now consider a definition of intellectual property rights. So, IPRs have been defined as ideas, inventions, and creative expressions based on which there is a public willingness to bestow the status of property. So, they cover ideas, they cover inventions, and they cover creative expression. Basically, the expression of an idea is what is covered in an IPR. If you just have an idea in your head and you do not translate into reality or translate your vision into an actual product, service, an application, a piece of machinery, a production process, a particular design, a painting, a poem, a book, then you cannot claim an IPR just by saying that I had this idea in my head. It has to be expressed and it has to be seen in some tangible form, or it should be capable of being experienced by people, and there has to be a public willingness to bestow the status of property. That is, that why should you be given this? So everywhere when you go to file for an IPR, you have to fill in an application form and you have to prove as to how it is original and why this must be granted to you. The importance of IPRs is what we will consider before we try and look at each type of IPR. Now, what is the importance of an intellectual property right is that it gives incentives to individuals for new creation. So if you would not have this concept, why would people want to create new things or invent something if they don't stand to gain from it? Then providing due recognition to creators and inventors, that is recognizing the effort of an author in creating all these wonderful characters. Let's say J.K. Rowling has created this magical world of the Hogwarts school, and she has created Harry Potter and so many characters, giving recognition to her for creating that. And inventors, so inventors could be right from we've studied during Industrial Revolution, or the spinning jenny and the steam engine, and all these were invented. So if you give due recognition to the inventors, they have everyone in life wants to be recognized and have ownership of something which they have created, and those people who create IPRs are no different. Ensuring the material reward for intellectual property, that is, a person should be able to get some money, he should be able to get some financial benefit for creating that intellectual property, ensuring availability of the original products, So why should somebody pay for, like, for example, everybody waits for Apple to release their products, unveil their products. And why? Because we've just been reading about how some hackers, Russian hackers, have stolen information regarding Apple's upcoming MacBook, and they are demanding a ransom for it. Now, why would you be so concerned about it? Because if you want to maintain originality of your product, so if Apple has been introducing products which are 5 years ahead of time, and if somebody steals the information and probably sells it to someone else, then they will lose the competitive edge. So ensuring availability of original products is achieved through IPRs. For economic growth and advancement in technology sector, protection of intellectual property is important. Yeah. So how do you find a lot of economic growth taking place in a country? It need not always necessarily be associated only with the growth in the service sector or the growth in manufacturing, but it should be based on advancement in technology, which is fueled by intellectual property, more and more intellectual property being created. Then IPRs are necessary for the growth of business in the field of technology. So these are the main reasons why IPRs are important or significant. What are the different types of intellectual property rights broadly? There are more than this. We will be doing it in detail, but broadly the types of IPRs are trade secrets, patents, copyrights, and trademarks, and we will consider each one of these very briefly in this video. What is a trade secret? Now, trade secret is something which is specific to a particular business, and it is very important. It's confidential information that is so important to a business that its existence might depend on it, because it gives a competitive advantage to that particular business in the marketplace. So it so happens that if the trade secret is acquired by another company, then the original holder of the trade secret would face a lot of loss for it. So the best example of this is the formula for Coke, which at a time is known only to two people and each one knows half of it. Or let's say the unique spice mix used for Kentucky Fried Chicken. These are trade secrets. So what goes into making that gives you the competitive advantage over why does a chicken at any other place not taste like KFC, or why does Coke not taste like anything else. So that is what we mean by trade secret, something which makes your business different from your competitors and gives you an edge over them. A patent is a limited duration IPR that you can use to protect inventions or discoveries. Now, these inventions or discoveries should be something which is new, which is not very obvious, and which is useful to it's something which helps to improve the quality of life of people. So as I said, touchscreen technology, or a particular chip which makes your devices work very fast, or something which you put in and which makes your camera quality very good. So these things can be patented, and our patents are granted for a period of 10 years, after which they come into public domain. So you can have patents for things like there's a company which has a patent for an incense stick which has 5 different fragrances. So every time you need to just light one stick and you will get 5 different fragrances from one incense stick. So you can have patents for these things. Let's consider what we mean by copyright. Now, copyright is the most common type of intellectual property protection. We see it even on websites. You must be using a lot of, you surf and you look for information on websites and you find that C in a circle which says till which date the copyright is applicable to this. So it protects original works of creative works, basically, which you may uh, write, you may draw, you may click pictures. Copyrights also protect things like computer software and architecture. So copyrights basically, the important thing is that they give protection in most countries throughout the lifetime of the author, and for 60 years after his death. And you can have copyrights that will, whereby if you write a book, you may authorize somebody to make a movie on the book, like we've seen in the case of Chetan Bhagat. His books have been turned into movies, or J.K. Rowling, her Harry Potter stories have been turned into movies. So copyright basically gives you, as the author, the right to allow somebody else to copy your work or reproduce it. And trademark refers to phrases, words, or symbols which distinguish a particular product or service from that of the competitors. So we, as students of business studies and commerce, the trademark is the most common intellectual property that you could come across. So you've seen the Nike tick, which tick mark, which says that, yeah, okay, I mean, even if Nike is not written there, or Just Do It is not written there, that swoosh is enough for you to understand that, okay, this is Nike. Same thing with any prominent symbol like Adidas, or you take LG. You'll find that the distinct shape, design, characters helps you to identify that particular product. You know that Maggie is a brand which is registered, which is a trademark which is used by Nestle. So, trademark basically is a very powerful intellectual property which is in the domain of business. It protects business owners and their brands. So thank you for listening. I hope you found this introductory video on intellectual property rights useful. Please don't forget to hit the like button. If you like the content in this video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and please don't forget to share the video and information about this channel to other students who might find it useful. Thank you.